here, and I've been on a lot of boards and kind of know the political process, but I've enjoyed learning about this particular process, and I think our side of the political aisle needs to find non-confrontational ways to engage with our political counterparts, not in a demeaning way, but speaking the truth and finding ways to improve the lives of all residents of this county and the state and this nation. And so I'll stop there and defer the rest of my time to others who need to speak. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Lynn. Next on the speaking order, Dennis is just informing me that the live stream on YouTube had crashed at some point for some reason, but the feed is back up on live on YouTube. Next up, Nancy B, female. You have 2 minutes when you start speaking.
Bonjour, I'm Nancy Bolio, and I'm a citizen of the Leech Lake Reservation. I reside on Leech Lake in Beltrami County, and I would love the opportunity to serve as a director. The reason why I joined the DFL was to bring our people's voices to the table, and I know change can start here at a local level, and I'm currently working for Minnesota 350 as a Northern organizer for environmental and racial justice, and I'm working on a project here in Northern Minnesota where we have brought a diverse group of elected politicians, community leaders, just inclusive of the groups of people that will help us work towards change. And I feel, you know, within this unit, I think we need some more Native representation, because we can show you guys in a good way how to be good treaty partners, because treaties were intended for us, one, to be good neighbors, two, to be good stewards of Mother Earth. And more often than not, our party unit and many of our colleagues and allies have failed to hold our endorsed candidates, those politicians that won their races. We failed to uphold our action agenda. Those are the values that tie us together, and we got these line 3 issues and all these other things going on. And so I feel as a unit, we need strong progressive people to help move and win back our unit and win back our democracy in ways that protect all of us. So our action agenda is not much of nothing if we don't have progressive people like myself to hold our politicians their feet to the fire, and so they can amplify our concerns and be more progressive. So that work starts here.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Just before we get to Tyler and Selena, somebody had asked where Kristen Nisis lives in Beltrami County. She is in Turtle Lake. Moving on, Tyler, you are next to speak, identifying as male. You have 2 minutes after you begin to speak.
I already had spoke.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong list.
I don't mind an encore though.
What?
I think it was Selena who didn't get to speak.
Right. I'm just gonna go back to look at my list in the chat that I wrote. First.
I think it's Steve Nelson, isn't it?
Yes, Steve Nelson.
Steve is unable to attend the convention, but I have a statement that I can read that he gave me. I want to thank the delegates for consideration to continue as a director. I have been active with the Beltrami County DFL for 30 years and have done everything from door knocking and phone calling to serving as county chair. Our challenge in the next 2 years will be to find qualified candidates to run for state and national office and work to get them elected. I will support the leadership of the Beltrami DFL in this effort. Thank you again, Steve Nelson.
All right, thank you for that statement from Steve.
Chair,
Yes.
Chair Jacob, point of
Yes.
order. Isn't it in our rules that there cannot be anyone speaking for another person that is not in attendance?
No.
Yes, it is.
What? Please. Anytime that a candidate is up for election, the time period allowed is almost always stated as the time for that candidate to be allowed to use it in whatever way they want. If you can point out to me in the adopted rules where I may have been mistaken, my apologies. But there's never been any sort of rule.
I have it here, Mr. Chairman. Joey, I've got it. I'm really disappointed that this happened, given executive committee members are involved. If you look at party officer elections, candidate speeches, each candidate shall be allowed no more than 2 minutes. No others may speak on behalf of or against their candidate.
My apologies.
And it does say and or their representatives, but I think Joey's point of order should have been considered.
I will disagree because the person who spoke on Steve's behalf stated that he was not able to attend. I would therefore interpret that as them being a representative of that candidate. So I will rule the motion to, well, there wasn't a motion. The point of order is not well taken. I would say that the nominations chair is a representative of that candidate reading through the minutes or the meeting rules again. I can understand why someone might disagree with that, but I will state it's very unusual that someone wouldn't be able to speak on behalf of that candidate. Essentially, what I think, how I would
challenge the chair's decision and I call for a vote on the floor.
Let me just state before, okay. Okay, let me ask this. If you decide to challenge my decision, as you have, what recourse are you looking for if the vote was affirmative against my ruling?
I don't know that he has to decide that. We're challenging the chair.
Right, but what is the point of challenging the chair if there's no tangible result of that challenge?
We'll move
to have it on the minutes.
Exactly, and we'll move to censor the chair for advocating for incumbents.
That's not part of the motion, but I guess if Joey wants to make that a part of the motion, there is a point of order from
friendly amendment.
Well, friendly amendments don't exist, but I'll take that. I'll understand why. There's a point of order from Mike Simpkins.
I had to unmute. Having been at many conventions, when a candidate runs for anything and they have a time allotment of whether it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes, they can use that time in any way they want. And if they want to have somebody to speak on behalf of them, that's fine. If they want to have the Beatles come and take up 3 minutes of their time, that's fine. There is nothing out of order for Steve Nelson to have somebody speak on his behalf. And number two, we are an inclusive party, and there are people that do not work 8 to 5. They can't be here tonight. Steve Nelson is one of them. He's working out at Potlatch tonight. He's working.
I understand that we have to work because I actually work here in about an hour, but the rules are what the rules are, Mike, and you understand that. So I do challenge the chair's decision, and I do ask for a floor vote.
Dennis Lunt is seeking recognition.
I just want to make a plea for us to keep moving. Even if a mistake was made by the chair, the censor is not going to yield any tangible result. The only result it would be is further tiring people who, many of whom need to work or who are just getting tired. We don't want to burn out people who are the rank and file of this party, including me. And I would like us just to keep moving, get through the speeches, hold our vote so that we can adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to encourage Joey to withdraw his point of order. He's made his point. It will be in the minutes, and I agree with Professor Lunt. But that's up to you, Joey.
I withdraw my motion.
All right, Joey has withdrawn his motion. We will now continue on in the candidate speeches for director. And as we're doing that, I do want to clarify that Christian Nisus lives in 10 Lake Township. I made a mistake earlier. I said Turtle Lake Township.
Chair,
We
can I
are
also
on-
have that? Can I also have that all pointed out on the minutes for this convention? Make sure that
that
the
would be
minutes
up to
reflect-
the recording secretary. I'm sure that there will be some notion of your motion being made and then withdrawn. We are now at, I believe, Selena.
I think Lynn Eaton.
Did Celine already go? I'm sorry.
It's Lynn's turn.
Okay,
Oh,
we
we do.
have,
Sorry.
it is Selena's turn.
No, mine.
No? Okay, Lynn, so let me just clarify. Selena has gone. So we're on number 7, correct?
No,
I
Selena
have
didn't
not
get to
gone.
go.
So the order,
It's Selena.
It's Selena. It's Selena.
Here's the order. Tyler, Christian, Kristen, Lynn Eaton, Steve Nelson, Selena, Lynn Ward, and Nancy.
Okay.
I think I accidentally gave Nancy an earlier birth. My apologies. It is Selena's time. You have 2 minutes from the time you start speaking.
Bujuga kina awia, Ozawa Benesi Quain and Dijnakas, Makwa Nindu Dame, Okakuning Nindujaba, Bemijikama Gninda, Nindanoki Chemical Health Programs, Minawa, Ningabe Gikanda, so Wikamik. Hello, everybody. My name is Selena Beasley. I'm an enrolled member of the Red Lake Nation. I hail from the Bear Clan. I am an employee for the Red Lake Band. I work for the Chemical Dependency Program, and I'm also attending college at the Red Lake Nation College. I will be graduating next month from that college. Many of my Native and white friends have urged me to seek this position. I proudly accept the nomination and humbly ask for your vote. I'm a mother to 3 biracial children. I'm a daughter, a sister, a wife, and a proud Red Lake tribal member who lives in Eccles Township. In addition to these responsibilities, like I said, I work at the Red Lake Chemical Health Program and I attend college. I've been chosen as the American Indian College Fund Student of the Year and have earned valedictorian honors for my graduating class. I'm graduating this spring and I plan to attend Bemidji State University to pursue my bachelor's degree in business administration. If elected, I will continue to reconcile the various factions in our unit, and I will continue to bring respect and equal status to those minorities who want to be active in the DFL. As an example, no matter what the intention, the press release by this unit in which the chair said, quote, legitimate protests should never be confused with violent assault on neighbors and the democratic process, unquote. That was viewed as a parent scolding a child in Indian country where many are engaged in stopping line 3. This was also in the Red Lake News. 15. I will work towards inclusion and improving transparency and communications. Miigwech Bizendawieg. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Selena. And our last speaker of the candidates is, just to remind myself, Lynn Ward, correct?
Hey, yes.
Okay.
So I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I've always worked really, really hard for Democratic candidates. I've hosted house parties, written letters to the editor, done phone banking. I've written and mailed all sorts of postcards to DFL candidates. I was elected 2 years ago as director, and I've been very, very proud of our hardworking, dedicated team. Getting Democrats elected is the focus, and fundraising is, of course, one of the ways of doing that. I was involved in 2 silent auctions that I helped organize, and they were really very successful. Even the last one in July, where we had to figure out how to do it, and we did it virtually. It was a huge success, and actually it was kind of fun. So I would like to continue as director, and I ask for your vote.
All right, we've heard from all 8 of our candidates for the Executive Committee of Beltrami County DFL Party. Dennis, what is the, before Jeremiah asks his question, Dennis, what's your time frame for having the ballot ready, both with their names and their gender identification, plus an abstain?
I got it.
Okay, we're all ready to go on that. Before you send that link out, Jeremiah has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my question relates to equal representation. As we sort of work through this, last nomination committee, we had a non-binary candidate who had received votes, but not enough. But it is my understanding of the goal of equal representation to have representations of each gender. So if a non-binary candidate receives 1 vote, is it not the case that they then should be elected to the board and that we should have 2 males and 2 females?
I would say at this point, no, because of the way that the rules have been written at the national level. If there was a place where for these 5, if the non-binary person received more votes than the top, female vote getters and or the top male vote getters in that plurality, then they would be elected. But it's not just that they qualify because they are non-binary, as far as even if they got 1 vote. Those are not how the current rules are written.
So, but by that rationale and using that, a non-binary candidate would have an infinitely more difficult time being elected because they will always be the minority between male and female. You see how if they're competing against both male and female, it's an exclusionary act, not an inclusionary act.
But they're not competing against any one gender. They're competing against the candidates as a whole, not any one individual. And with that, there is a question from Dennis Lunt.
I don't know that I disagree with your take on it, Jacob. I maybe just be putting it differently. My understanding from having done this before is that the state rules are, we tally up the votes for everyone, so you vote for who you believe in, and we take the top vote getters that result in gender equity.
Correct.
So and so we have to take, we take the top candidates, the highest vote yield that gets us that gender balance is a-okay, and that's why it doesn't hurt the non-binary candidates, because they can contribute to that gender equity.
But it doesn't It's not an inclusionary member or an inclusionary measure if non-binary candidates have to compete with both genders in order to be elected.
I may agree with you overall on that, Jeremiah. But in the rules as written, and that's something that we should ask the National Party to work on. I will say I've been on the Constitution Committee for the state for the last, I'm now in my 4th 2-year term. And it was quite wonderful that they even added non-binary recognition in their convention rules over the last 2 years. And that's something that we do need to work on. But for equal division, which is how it would be defined in the state constitution, I can cite that in a second after we are starting to call the vote. It's if Christian gets more votes than folks, then they would be included in the vote tally for potential inclusion in the final winning. Someone has called the question on the vote. I won't go to that. I will just ask Dennis to send out the Google form